Thanks everybody for joining today. This is Mike Leahy, and I'm joined by Bart Fannin. And Bart, for those of you who may not know him, is our operations manager and helps run the company. And so this is our inventory management supply chain training class today. We have been in business forever, Leahy Consulting. We are manufacturing and distribution ERP experts. We've been in business it'll be 42 years in 2 weeks. We're located in Cincinnati, and we developed this dashboard software to help you extract data to make better and faster decisions. So that better and faster decisions, that becomes a theme of our software. The idea of the software is that there's no setup, there's no arduous testing. You literally can buy it in the morning and be using it with your data in the afternoon. And on top of that, we have expanded the scope, we've expanded the capabilities of the Macola database. The Macola database is very, very good, but it lacks certain things that we're going to show you. So we've added that to, so the idea is to pinpoint shortages, to have reports that work immediately. You can change all the reports, that's something else. And you constantly can have these advanced concepts that are not in the traditional Macola to help you with doing your job better. So just to get started, what's really interesting about supply chain, especially from our perspective, is that every company we work with has a different approach. So today, you're going to see a lot of different aspects of this. Some of them may be applicable to you, some of them may be of interest to you, but we're hoping that you can go away with some ideas and some tools, especially what we've done in dashboard, in Pulse Dashboard and analytics software to make this process really work. So this chart is a chart that you're seeing on the screen, has a lot of categories to it. Better visibility in the upper left, and then we list a whole bunch of things there. Optimization and data cleanup, analysis and action. But the whole idea is that we have tailored our dashboard software to handle and reply to and help you, assist you in either better visibility, optimization, cleanup, or analysis and action. So this is something that you'll have as a reference. I'll mention just a quick story. Some years ago, we had a customer who was purchased by Honeywell, large corporation, very large, billions in inventory. And they came to this company. This was a $50 million company, and they had about 5,000 parts in their inventory. And they said, you need a written policy. And they said, well, how can we have a written? And they said, more than a written policy, you need to have a policy for every part. We had something like a plan for every part. You have to have a plan for every part. Now, maybe you can group parts together, similar parts or a similar product category, but you have to have a plan. In other words, you have to have a plan for how much inventory do you need, dollars, and because you only have so much space. How do I know when to reorder? And when I do determine to order, how much should I order? What quantity should I be ordering? How do I know my vendor's lead time because they're constantly changing? Should I maintain a safety stock? And if so, what quantity should that safety stock be? So what I learned from Honeywell, and I believe at the time they had over 2 billion in inventory among all of their locations. They had like 50 locations or 50 divisions. And sure enough, this plan for every part became part of their vocabulary. So what I've done here at the bottom of this, I provided some examples, some real examples of what some of our customers have done, how they have approached reorder levels, reorder quantities, order up to. Macola has this thing called reorder level, which is your min, and then it has a field called order up to, which is traditionally called your max, min max. And I would say that 19 out of 20 customers we work with have nothing in that max field, nothing in that order up to field, because they haven't thought about or nobody's forcing them to come up with a policy. So just something to think about. So let's start off right away with what I've talked about before, what Dashboard is doing that's not available in the standard Macola software. Okay, the first one I have here is inventory turns. Now that may not be applicable to everybody now, but it's important that you know that that's there. In other words, when the boss says, you know, I read this article about inventory turns, are we doing inventory turns? Are we capturing that at our company? And the answer is yes. And what is really important to remember with inventory turns is that you need to have a separate chart for manufactured items versus purchased items. You can't commingle them together. And then in this red setup icon, what I suggest is that you set that trailing months to 3. If you set it to 12, what will happen is the line will be flat, and you'll say, I put all this work into this and it's not showing me anything. So the important thing is separate inventory turns separate from for manufactured versus purchased items, and then trailing months. And the way I changed that, I went to the red wrench. All of the screens in Dashboard have this red setup. Now, what's interesting about today is maybe 3/4 of the people today are existing users. Their company is using Dashboard. Some others are brand new. So in some cases, I'll kind of remind everybody how you can change things. So the first thing that we have is inventory turns. Something else that we've provided that's not in Macola is inventory aging. Okay, well, what does that mean? Inventory aging means that in this particular case, you have 48 parts that have a value of, it's only $2,000, that have not been touched. They have no usage, just absolutely a dead inventory. There's been no activity at all. And of course, with Dashboard, you can drill down and see all of the underlying detail. So again, inventory aging, nothing to do with excess inventory or not having enough. It has to do with dead inventory. So you can see here that 59% of my inventory value is tied up in my current, and when I go to 12 months, I'm seeing the majority of my inventory. Okay. So let's go look at the inventory status, and let's take a look at what do we have here? This is a traditional stock status report. You have an item number, a description, what's on hand, what's allocated, min max, all that kind of stuff. Okay. But when we work with this company that got acquired by Honeywell, we started picking up ideas to embellish the product. So the very first thing we did, and all these fields in the cream color, this yellowish color, those are all data fields that we have added to Dashboard. In other words, every night at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., takes about 20 minutes, it recalculates all of this information so it's live for the next day. And if you really wanted it more real time, you could run this over lunchtime and have everything be real time for the afternoon. But the first one we added was months of inventory on hand. And the second one that we did is we added a 3, 6, and 12 month average usage and total usage, 3, 6, and 12 months average and total usage for each item. Okay, so how could that help you? You're getting ready to order something, you're being pressured to order something or to make something, and you look here and you see that over the past 12 months, maybe the increase in usage has increased substantially, like this one here has increased like 350%. But you may have other items that had a lot of usage and now it's dropped off. In other words, the difference between the 12. So you can create formulas now. That's something we're now learning. Within Dashboard, we can create a custom formula and we could say, I don't want to see these totals. I want to see a percentage change so that I can look instantly and see whether it's positive or negative. If it's 100% or 200%, that tells me. If it's 2%, that tells me something different. So 3, 6, and 12 month average usage and total usage. We have date of last usage, date of last purchase, date of last inventory activity, date of last manufacturing, and date of last sale. Everything that we do in the inventory follows APIX rules. So we hired my APIX coach to certify how we're doing things, especially in the area of inventory turns. That's very, very complex. So for example, you're getting ready to order something, you're being pressured to order something. We need more of this part, Bill. We need more of this, and you look over here and you can see, a couple things. You can see I just bought it 2 months ago, or we haven't used any in a year. So this information is designed to be included in the stock status report. It's designed to be included in the MRP section. It's in the PO generator, the purchase order generator that we offer. It's designed to, so any place where you're getting ready to change your stock, this information will help you make a better decision, where you can go back to that person and say, I think you're confusing this with another item because we just purchased a bunch of this last month. And he'll say, oh yeah, that was the -2 part, not the -1 part that I had that. So now let's look at something else that we've done. We've included usage quantities month by month by month. And we've included also on-hand quantities month by month by month. So technically what we're doing is we have a rolling 24 months of on-hand quantities and usage quantities, and we extend that further to be able to look every month, how much did we receive, how much did we consume, how much did we transfer if you're doing transfers with other locations. So again, these numbers over here, these average usage numbers may not be what you're looking for. You may want actual numbers. I used 42 last month, I used 106, and so on and so on. So again, this is usage and on-hand quantities. We also have in the software an ABC class generator. Well, why is that important? Well, one reason it's important is that the Macola ABC class generator doesn't work right. A couple of things. It tries to commingle purchase and manufacturing parts together. And it also wants you to look at your ABC classes at a location level rather than at a global level. So in other words, just because you have parts stored in a outside warehouse doesn't mean that they're a C and then in the main location they're an A. So what we do is you select purchase or manufacturing, you press this button, it only takes a second, you can see. And what it's doing is it's taking traditional APIX, in this case, 80% of my cost, 80% of the cost of this material, and then class B is 15% and so on. So the idea being, let me come up to the top here, is that it is making suggestions. So anytime this is highlighted, like right now, this part is a B, it says the current class is a B, and it should be an A. Now, if you have some reason, maybe this is a brand new part and doesn't have enough history, you can override that if you want to. But in this particular case, this is not a big moving part, and it should be. I mean, it is a big moving part. It hasn't been just a brand new part. So the idea again is purchase versus manufacturing separate, location only. Not one of our customers forced us to put this location and item. It's not correct. We also give you the ability to take your dead inventory and assign it to be a class D, and it'll exclude. So what happens then is when you're finished with this, you just say update, and it pushes those in. So how does that help us here? Well, it helps us in this inventory turns area, because now you're putting all this effort into your parts. Let's say you're putting all this effort into increasing turns just for your A parts, your high moving parts. Well, if they're not accurate, then this graph will be messed up. So that's where this is happening. And it allows you then to focus your energies. Like a C part might be a fastener. A C part might be washers and screws and gaskets and, things that cost, that you may use 1 million screws, but that's not an A part. So it allows you to put your energy to where it really needs to be. Okay, so we've talked about the areas that we've added to the Macola database. So let's talk about how do we make sure, based on our rules, how do we know that our min, max, and everything in our safety stock is set correctly? Because remember, safety stock is set to be the amount of inventory that you'll consume between now when you're ordering and when you stock out. So in other words, if you're using 100 a month and you set your safety stock to 100, that means that when you issue the reorder replenishment, that when it arrives, you'll be down to 0. And it comes in and then it restocks it. So if those safety stocks are not set right, let's say that your demand for that item goes from 100 a month to 200 a month, you're going to stock out in the middle of the month with no way to react to that. So what we've done here, and this is our recalculate min-max safety stock and PO lead time. And if you go to the setup, this is not particularly realistic, but we have SQL code that tells us what our reorder level is, what our safety stock. In this case, we've set the safety stock to be 1 month's usage. And then you have a criteria for parts to include or exclude. And then you can say that my sample size, let's say I want to have 1 month's average usage. Well, is that based on a sample of the past 3 months, 12 months, 6 months? So in this case, I've set mine to 6 months. So when I say calculate values, just like the ABC generator, it only takes a moment to run. Okay, it's finished. Now what it's doing is it's saying, for example, I've kind of messed this up because I overrode my data here, but the current safety stock, it compares each one, my current min to the new min, my current max to the max. I messed that up. I updated this and should not have, so I destroyed what was in there before. But you get the idea of this, that you're able to look at these items and be able to see what the current min, max is, and max and safety stock. And then we also show you what the dollar impact is of the difference. So if you're setting the min and you want to know, you'd be able to see what the dollars are going to be based on usage. So if I was to click on update, then it would take this information and it would push it back into Macola. Now, we also have a history report for this. And the reason the history report's in here is that somebody's likely to come back to you and say, Mary, Bill, Fred, what'd you do here? You're messing around with the inventory and you screwed up, my factors. And you can look in here and say, no. We just updated the min-max. We didn't update something else that. Then we also have the ability to look at purchase order lead times. So what this is going to do is it's going to show me, there's a lot more data here, it's going to show me again what my current PO lead time is and what the suggested lead time is for the future. And of course, now it's taking a little longer, and I'm wanting to.
We have a question when you're ready for a break.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, I need a break.
This is from earlier, and if I'm rephrasing this, please to the person that sent it, feel free to send it again. Question is: we assume that purchased is raw material and is manufactured including WIP.
Is manufacturing including WIP? Yeah. In other words, you've made something. You've taken these two components and you've bolted them together or welded them together, and that's now a manufactured part. But now, if you're talking about from a general ledger standpoint, and there's an option in Macola to say, when I pull the parts, when I start the production or when I make something, immediately I'm going to move that from the raw material general ledger account to the WIP general ledger account. So in Macola, there's no WIP. I mean, there's no WIP location. It's really the general ledger. So yes, the answer would be if it's in WIP, then at that point it's an M part, a manufactured part. If it's raw stock, it's still on the shelf, waiting to be used, then that's going to be a P part, a purchase part. So hopefully I've answered that question, but go ahead and ask it again to Bart if I did not.
Okay, there was just a follow-up that the person would like to look at inventory turns as finished good and raw and not as WIP.
Well, let's talk about that. Well, here you can see what we've done on the PO lead time. The same thing is telling you what the new lead time is. Then if you were to update it, but let's go back here to well, on any of these reports, you can apply a filter. So this filter here, and I guess technically it would be maybe it has to be by material cost type or something. We have a lot of flexibility. If your coding is such that we can filter on that, yes, we could show you inventory turns of in-process inventory. So that may require another phone call later to follow up, but I think we probably could do something along those lines. Maybe we combine these two together and put a filter on for just a material cost type. So this filter here allows you to, like I said, material cost type. So we would bring in the material cost type that is your WIP. And it's, in this particular case, let's say it's this P stands for production. And we would just do that and then apply that filter. Yeah, so good question. So what we've been talking about are the areas where we've added capability, we've added new functionality to the software. So this recalculate is doing the same thing again. It's for recalculating the min-max safety stock and PO lead time. But what I haven't emphasized enough is that it is based on the way you do things. Every company is completely different, except maybe that they want their lead time, that they want their safety stock to be 1 month usage or 2 months usage or something like that. So this takes a little bit of work, but it's designed to pay off. So you then have to make a decision if you want your safety stock to be real time when you're placing a purchase order, and that may impact how much you're going to buy, then you'd want to update this every day. It only takes a few seconds to update. And you can update just parts of it. If you had a filter on here for just your WIP items or just a certain location, when you say update, it just updates those individually. So let's talk a little bit about some programs that we've developed that are helpful and unique. This is designed to replace the multiple level item view. Now, I was around in Macola when the multiple level item view program was invented, when it was released, and it was over 30 years ago, and it hasn't changed any. So our goal here was to take this flexibility that we have within Dashboard and to take the real time and what we're adding and combine them together. So I have this part. Remember, this is the focus of this is similar to the multiple level item view. I'm selecting the part, and then in white, these are real time, on hand, allocated, on order, available. That's real time. And then here we're seeing months of inventory on hand, date of last sale. These are becoming familiar to you now. These are the fields that we have added to the software. For example, year-to-date usage. Let's say you're on a December 31st year end. Year-to-date usage in February is meaningless to you because you can't tell anything from it. But we have a 12-month rolling average usage as well. Okay, so if we look here to this detail button, this now allows me by location, by bin, by lot number. I can now see not just the items and how much we have, but I have a column chooser. So now I can add additional. Remember that dashboard is now saying these are all the fields that are everything in Macola is available to you to use in any report. So if you're in a sales report, all the sales information is available. If you're in an inventory report, all inventory, purchasing, production information is available to you. So in my particular one here, I brought in just some more. I brought in a usage trend, and I added that to this. So that's something we have. We're going to come back to these buttons in a minute. People are probably wanting to know what that's about. Trying to get rid of this there. Okay, so before, remember, we talked that we have a 24-month historical usage, historical activity. So here's my historical summary, and I'm able to look at my on-hand quantity, purchased, produced, usage, transfers in and out, and inventory turns, month by month by month. This goes back 12 months. So as a buyer planner, I now have a 12-month look-back perspective. This next screen, I'll shut these down so we can focus more on one screen at a time. This is now doing an MRP summary. So what we've done here is we've done an MRP regeneration of just this one single part, this E3089. So now I'm looking at my demand, my replenishments, and my forecasted net on-hand quantity into the future. So first I see what's past due, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. And if I'm doing a good job right now, you'll say to yourself, "Whoa, wait a minute, this is kind of going along nicely. Why did somebody order 3,000? This wasn't needed. This wasn't necessary. Why did somebody order 3,000 when we didn't need any?" So I put this in on purpose. So then you may say, "No, this doesn't make sense. I don't remember anybody placing an order for 3,000. You know, I want to see some details." So now we have the MRP layers that support this MRP into the future. And sure enough, here it is, purchase order number 17041. There it is, Seattle Fasteners 3,000. Who ordered that? So this is designed, again, to take Macola to the next level on a part-by-part basis. So this is the MRP summary, and then these are the details. And this is our MRP, not Macola's MRP that we're looking at. And if this part was a manufactured part, we'd be able to see the bill of material. And then we have a full where used. Every single part has a where used, hopefully. So we have a where used. Okay, so I purposely have waited till the end because I want to show you something that's new within the past year or so, and that is the ability to add buttons to the screen. And it's too complicated to take the time right now, but remember, within our software, you have unlimited phone calls, you have unlimited support, unlimited training, and we even joke unlimited retraining. So you just got to help about, and here's the phone number. And then for those of you who we're in contact with on a day-to-day basis, we have hired a replacement for Tom Schindler. His name is Bill Cox, and Tom passed away, unfortunately. So that's going to start next month. So what have we done here? I have this part, and I want to, instead of going to another screen, I want to be able to see inventory turns just for this part. I want to be able to see inventory aging just for this part. Now this is a purchase part, so I'm not going to see any sales. I'm not going to see any invoiced. Here's my inventory usage for that. This is my purchase order receipts for that item. Well, on-time shipping. This isn't the manufactured item. And then I have a transaction history. So just to give you a little bit of a peek, in the Red Wrench setup, there's a section at the bottom where you can copy and paste. And all you're doing is you just do a Control-C on some report, and you just say, click here and add it, and it adds it instantly. Then you do another one, Control-C. It's a little bit confusing, but we'll definitely help you if this is of interest. So you can create as many as you want, and the way to get more reports up here, more buttons up here, is to use abbreviations. Actually, abbreviations are on the left here. You can see I took this real long one and made it short. Okay, so this is what we've done to help this process along. I don't know what happened to my E3089. And I should mention, some people have trouble with this because they're clicking and tabbing and all this kind of stuff. And all you have to do is you just highlight this box and just start typing. I highlighted it, E3089, hit the tab key, no enter key, just hit the tab key, and it'll take care of it. So the ergonomics are a little bit, okay, so the next thing we want to talk about, so now we've talked a little bit about, or a lot about, the data that we've added to Dashboard to make decisions and buying a little bit easier. So let's talk about shortages, because when we developed the software, the emphasis was customers coming to us and saying, Mike, show me my shortages, show me my shortages. All this other fancy stuff, is real nice, but just show me my shortages. Can I make it? It's Monday morning. Can I make it through Friday? Can I make it through the end of the month? I have a big goal, a shipping goal for the month. Can I make it through the end of the month? So we have developed 2 shortages reports, and I'm going to go over both of them. One I'm going to go over briefly. In production, we have shortages, and in customer service, we have shortages. Okay, now why would we want shortages in customer service? Well, if you're the customer service manager and your team has obligated the company to ship a product on a certain day, you have to be able to know, are we going to make it or not? So in my particular case here, let's make believe that it's Monday morning, and can I make it through Friday? Can I make it for the next 5 days? And when I click here, that was a full MRP regeneration on finished goods. I'll do that again. This is our MRP regeneration. There's nothing wrong with Macola's, but our goal was to have one that was lightning fast, not taking 10 minutes or an hour or 2 hours. Okay, so here we have 16 items. You see the number at the bottom. 16 items where if I don't do anything, I am not going to be able to ship them on time this week in the next 5 days. So I have to drill down and I have to look at each one. Okay, here I have a bunch of pending orders. I have a production replenishment, but immediately I go red again. So in other words, this production replenishment is an insufficient quantity to ship these orders because I immediately go red again. Okay, I have some more replenishments coming later, but again, I'm still not able to ship on time. So we have to do something about this. Lean on production, so on. So we're going to take a look at another one here. Same kind of deal. The replenishments are an insufficient quantity. Let's take a look at this one. Same kind of stuff. So you kind of see the drill here. Okay, green means good. Woo, we can ship this on time. After all of this, and what this is doing technically is it is time phasing my demand and my replenishments. The demand would be the customer order. The replenishment would either be a production order, or if you had a pass-through item, it would be a purchase order. Okay, So this is available, but this is available to customer service. Now let's look at the production side. That's a lot more complicated because what we're having to do is we're having to explode the bill of material for each item either in the forecast, each item in the forecast, or each item that is currently being manufactured. So in this case here, I have 39 components, not finished goods, but components. So let's take a look at this this frame right here. And we're doing okay. We needed some, and then we made some. Now note in here that we also are incorporating your forecast. So if you have a production forecast, then we can incorporate that and explode that as well. You know, in other words, this one had for a quantity here of 8 and 7 on these dates. So again, if you have a forecast, even if it's for just one product line, you go up here and you can import that. And if you have it in Excel, you can import that. So the idea being here that if you're a production planner, you're obligated to go through all 39 of these and determine what you want to do. Okay, let's take a look at this one. We have about 8 production orders that need this item, and we have no replenishment ever. If we don't do anything, these will never go out the door. So let's review technically what this is doing. It's taking demand and replenishment over the next 5 days, over the next days that you specified, in this case 5. And then it's looking for, just to help out, it's looking at replenishments that go out to infinity. So maybe in December, you happen to have a purchase order that's designed to come in December. Doesn't make sense. That would show that here. But again, it's time phasing it by date. The December would be at the bottom. You still would be all red. And we have columns here that tell you, you know, what your availability is. Is this you know, what's my earliest replenishment date and what's my earliest demand date? So these are things that might be helpful to you to have those fields, because you may want to sort this down by earliest demand, which would say you're wanting to look at the items that are needed the earliest. Now, of course, in my demo database, I am in June of 2021. So when I see demand, in this case, this demand is a few months old. So that might be good to start at the top and drill in. Okay, here's, you know, we're in bad shape here, no replenishments. Look at the next one. Lots of, no replenishments. No replenishments. Okay. Well, I think you see the drill here. This is extremely powerful. You have a column chooser here to add additional data to meet your unique needs. And then when you drill down on a part, you have the same thing. You have a column chooser to go, and you can add additional fields. So now that you know this is in the background, we can start doing some little. We can start in the shortages area. Let me jump ahead for and show you a little bit of how we handle that. We have 2 reports here. Don't worry about all. Look at the yellow ones just right now. Some people need to know immediately when they accept the customer order. Can I make it or not? So this particular report shows customer orders. Here's the customer order number. Here's the customer, and so on. And the idea is I want to be able to drill down, and I want to be able to see by component. These are the components. Do I have available components? In this first case, I do not, and the rest I have. Let's go down into 62 part. Here's another situation. I have this. I've exploded the bill of material, and again, all of these columns you can. I think there's a limited column chooser on this, but the idea is that if you need to know immediately, can this be made? Like, let's say you're having a sales meeting the next day and you're trying to evaluate the orders that came in the day before. Okay, so this is for existing sales orders. Other people don't worry about shortages until it hits production or it's about to hit production. So let's take a look at how we do this. So I'm going to click on this item here. And these are pending production. And again, I think you see the drill. We're not in good shape here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 10 or 11 components that are going to prevent us from manufacturing this on time. So I think we've talked, and then I know I'm getting deep into the production side right now, but we developed another report. Okay, some people want to say, show me all my open orders, and I'm going to just drag through here. I want to just see them all. Here they are. Here's all of them. The exploded bill of material for all of them. I want to look at every single one, all the detail. But occasionally, when I see that I have a shortage, I want to be able to click on here, and I want to be able to see my outstanding production orders. So this is what we call an advanced screen designer. I have hooked these two screens together by the hip, and I'm able to see I have 200 on order. When is it coming in? So that's the purpose of this. I'll look here. I have 8 on order. Click in the wrong place. There. I have 2 purchase orders that are coming in for that 8, and you're able to see, well, what are the dates? Is this going to help me at all? Now this is the one that shows you all the gory details. This is one that just shows you. This is just showing you shortages. So after a while, you see that this packaging material, that they have a problem. They don't have enough packaging material. So this is just showing the shortages. And in this particular case, you'll see that the majority of them, the component, they do not have anything on order for that. So let's talk about shortages again. We had shortages at the customer service level, shortages at the manufacturing level, and then in MRP, we have the ability to see more details about that. Now, I should mention also, we're covering a lot today. It may be too much to keep up with, covering too much, and you may say to yourself 2 things. One, the screen he has here, I don't have this on my dashboard. In fact, none of you have this. This is a custom report. Or you want to go back to, I should mention also that when Tom died, Monty Guy, who retired 2 years ago, volunteered to come back and help out until we found a replacement and got trained. So some of you may know Monty well. He heads up our support, and say, Monty, what's the deal here? You know, how do I get this report? And he can email you some of these reports. So we talked about, there's a lot to talk about. We talked about incorporating a forecast as well. Let's talk about purchasing right now. We sort of skipped over purchasing. We went into production. In purchasing, let's look at the big picture in purchasing is that I'm making believe that I am Pete Bowers and I'm in the Cincinnati location. And, hit the wrong one. I want the system to tell me what I need to order, again, based on my rules of when do I want to order and how much do I want to order. So these are all the vendors that are assigned to me, and I can hit the plus sign, and I can see these are all the items that need to be ordered. And I can go down here and say, yes, I want to order this. There's something going on here. I'm going to bypass that. Yes, this thing comes in boxes of 50. I can fix that. This one comes in boxes of 100. I'm going to fix that. And then when I get done, I just say create purchase order. So you didn't know where I was going here. This is our purchase order generator. This is designed to allow you to focus on negotiations and supply chain issues and not have to go through the tediousness of keying in purchase orders. So there it is, Chicago Box Company. These are these housings that we just chose. We can make this an unreleased or a released or a printed order depending on your workflow. Anything can be changed. If I chose something at the very end, I want to get rid of that item, I could do that. I can even add items on here. And when I'm all done, if I hit save, then the screen goes blank. All of this goes away. And then I focus on the next one and the next one and the next one. So again, it's designed to automatically create purchase orders for you. This is a good case here where the system knows this comes in boxes of 2,000, and I only ordered 810. Same thing here, 2,000. So I want you to see this. This is a really important part of our supply chain offering. Let me show you something that's a little bit fancy. And this is something that not everybody is going to have in the company, but I have the ability to change dates and push that back into Macola. So the vendor calls me up and says, you know, that item you've been waiting for 2 years, we're going to ship it tomorrow. So you right-click on the order here, you go to Macola Process, you go to Edit Purchase Order, and you can change these dates. And then hit Save. So this is not for everybody in every company. There's security that, but some people say, well, you know, I'm getting bombarded all day with people giving me changing due dates. I need the ability to go in fast. So now that you know that's available. We also have, and this is in Bart Fannon's area, we also have a vendor portal. So you're getting bombarded with emails, you're getting bombarded with voicemails and telephone calls throughout the day. They're calling you back, you know, when's it coming, when's it going to arrive, can you ship me a partial shipment and just get some of it on the way. We have a web-based portal that allows the vendor to key into the portal. No more emails, no more phone calls. And you can, if you're sending them messages, you can monitor if they've read that message or not. And then you can monitor the pending requests that you've made. So again, it's something that's real time. It's our portal. It's beyond this software. It's a web-based portal. And if that has some interest, we'd be glad to talk about that later. Okay. So Bart, I want to take a breath here. Any questions that are coming in that you'd like to pass on?
Well, we had a power blip, so I've reconnected. I'm wondering if you could change my status again so I could see the questions. But in the meantime, I did have one from earlier, if you didn't get to this while I was out, and that was, what kind of data are you creating in Dashboard that's not currently in Macola?
We're creating all of these date of last usage. We're creating all of the inventory activity, the historical 24 months. The forecast has a place in Macola. I guess, yeah, all the MRP stuff is added to Macola. So what we've done is we've created our own files, our own tables, and we've added those to the Macola tables. Something else that we've done. So Bart, can you see now?
No, I think I'm listed as the presenter now. I may need to be a organizer.
Oh, you need to be an organizer.
You may want to take presenter back. Yes, that's good. There we go.
Thank you. I was listening and talking at the same time. Show my screen. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so those are some things that we've added. For any of you who are not in the supply chain area, maybe you're in overall management, we've done something else in the area of accounts receivable collections. That's a really tough area. You know, the people are telling you not to call them back anymore. They're screaming at you. They're telling you that they paid all their bills, and you need a place to follow up. You need a place to record those comments. So rather than you fill your monitor with sticky notes, you can leave notes here. Okay, I left a message for Jane, and this is where we're also writing back to Macola, and then also then you can add notes to the get down at the detail level. So that's another area where we are writing back. We also have the ability in this purchasing area. If I look at I have the ability in certain places where I can right-click on a vendor number and create a purchase order. I can right-click on a customer number and create a new customer order. So there's several areas that we write back, a lot of areas, and it just keeps expanding.
We have one more question, Mike.
Sure.
Is the min-max for all of stock, or can it vary by item or customer? This is for safety stock.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry that I didn't make that point clear. These rules that we talked about earlier, the rules for that's these queries, I've seen this where it's a foot long, 20 lines long. It'll say if the buyer planner code equals Bill, do it this way. If it's Mary, do it this way. If the product category is X, I want to make it 20. If the product category is Y, I want to make it 40. If my lead time is such and such, or if my PO lead time is such and such. So yes, this can get filled with rules. So when I come over here then and I calculate this, I'm seeing completely different sets of safety stock depending on the product category or the material cost type. So yes, this is very, very specific to, and it forces you to write down into English, English paragraphs, what you want, when you want to order, and when you are at that point, how much are we going to order? And then that's all dependent on a safety stock. And if you want a safety stock, what is that going to be? And we've seen customer situations where, let's say the safety stock is 1 month supply and times are bad. COVID hits, we have a recession, whatever. Maybe it's our slow time of the year. So you go into this and you say to the software that my safety stock, instead of being 1 month's usage, is now a half month's usage. So I go in here and I say, I want to multiply that times 0.5. So I've cut the safety stock in half, or I've cut my recommended order quantity in half. So it's a very, 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 extremely, very, very flexible. So before we run out of time here, we've talked about shortages, visibility of shortages at the customer level, visibility of shortages at the production level, and we can control how many days we want to look out. And we've talked about in inventory, in the stock status area, we've talked about all these fields in cream colored that are available to use as you need to. And then if you need to be able to look at usage month by month or on hand month by month, going back to 12 or 24 months, that is all available to you. We've enhanced the inventory detail screen to add these buttons. And now I can, instead of having to leave that screen and go to another screen. So this feature has been with us all along, the ability to right-click on a part number and see usage, or right-click on a part number and see aging. Here we've just combined it and made it a lot more ease of use. In the purchasing area, we haven't talked very much about this, and we're running out of time, but this is, again, an advanced screen designer. You see, we've combined two reports to the hip, by the hip. So instead of drilling down, coming back, drilling down, coming back, here I can drill down and immediately see the results on the right side. So this is something, this is not a brand new report, but it's been around for a while. And again, some of you will say, well, I've never seen that before. So you go up here to help, you go to about, and you say, Monty or Bill, you know, this report that we talked about in this webinar, I don't have it. You know, please email that to me, and we can email you the report. Okay, we have about 1 minute left. We were trying to go for 55 minutes. We're a little, 2 minutes over. I apologize at the beginning that I was talking to a blank screen, or what you saw was a blank screen. Bart, any last questions or comments before we finish up?
No, I don't believe so. If anyone does, feel free to email or contact us. We can answer by phone or on a separate call as well.
Yeah. So we've gone over an awful lot today. We want to thank you for your support of our software. We have a few people who are in the meeting today who are still considering using the software. So hopefully this has been a positive session. And if you have questions as well, to go back to me or one of our salespeople. But this again, every company does things differently, and you know, so just give us a call and we can help you get some of this set up and you know, try to make things easier for you. So again, we appreciate your support of our software. And for those who are not users, look forward to working with you, and have a great rest of the week. Okay, bye-bye.